I want you to picture a specific moment. It's, I don't know, usually around 9:40 p.m. on a Tuesday. You're on your couch, the TV is on, your phone is in your hand, and you've read maybe 5 different articles about some crisis happening somewhere. Your group chat is just blowing up with people arguing. Twitter or X, whatever, is screaming. And then suddenly your brain just, it just stops. You get this physical, visceral urge to grab the nearest confident-looking person and just say, please, just tell me the answer so I can go to sleep.
Oh, I think every single person listening just felt that in their chest. It is a very, very specific flavor of burnout.
Yes.
It's not just that you're tired. It's that you are craving an end to the processing. You don't even necessarily want the truth anymore. You just want the noise to turn off.
Exactly. You want someone to hand you a sealed envelope with the correct opinion inside so you can stop thinking. It's the craving for a conclusion. And, you know, we usually beat ourselves up for that. We think, oh, I'm being lazy, I'm unmotivated. But today, we are diving into a source that suggests something much deeper is going on. And frankly, much spookier. We're looking at Luminous Circus Ep.3. The title is Coherence, Noise, and the Choice to Stay Whole. And I have to say, this text felt like it was reading my diary.
And judging you a little bit.
And judging me a little bit, yes.
It is a confronting piece of writing, for sure. And to place it in context for everyone, this is part of a series we've been tracking. So episode 1 was No Gurus, all about rejecting external authority. Episode 2 was about how authority disguises itself as comfort.
Right.
But this one moves the battlefield. It argues the biggest threat to your intellectual sovereignty isn't some guru on a stage. It's not a biased news anchor. It's your own nervous system.
Which is a much harder pill to swallow, isn't it? It's easy to blame the algorithm or the media. It is so much harder to admit that maybe I'm biologically wired to look for a cage because the cage feels safer than the open wild.
Exactly.
So, okay, the mission for this deep dive is to unpack that mechanism. We need to figure out why we confuse clarity with compression and how to build this thing the source calls coherence without just, you know, retreating into a cave and ignoring the world.
And we should probably clarify right up front that coherence here isn't just a buzzword for making sense.
Right.
The source frames it as a structural survival skill for the modern age. It's the capacity to stay whole when the world is actively trying to fragment you into 1,000 little reactive pieces.
So let's start with the villain of this story, or
Yeah.
the antagonist anyway. The source calls it the internal saboteur. It suggests that even after you've intellectually decided, okay, I'm a free thinker, I don't follow gurus, you're still living inside a body that has, well, ancient programming.
Right. And this is where the biology really meets the philosophy. The text makes a crucial point. Sovereignty, true independence of thought, it takes energy.
It's expensive.
It is metabolically expensive to hold your own authority, to make your own meaning, and to sit with uncertainty. The internal saboteur is basically your body's energy-saving mode kicking in at the worst possible time.
It mentions specifically that when the mind is overloaded or emotion becomes compressed, sovereignty becomes harder to embody. I think embody is the key word there.
Yes.
It's not a philosophy exam you just pass once. It's a physical state you have to maintain.
Exactly. Think about your attention span on a heavy news day. Your attention fractures. You're reacting to a headline, then a text, then an email, then a notification.
You're just a pinball.
You're in a state of fragmentation. And the source argues that in that state, your capacity to process nuance it drops to zero. And when that happens, outsourcing authority isn't a moral failing. It becomes a biological temptation. We are wired to trade power for relief.
That phrase, the trade, it appears a few times, and it talks about making small trades. That really stuck with me. Because we tend to think of losing our independence like it's a big movie scene, you sign a contract in blood, or you join a cult wearing matching robes.
Like something dramatic.
But the source says no. It happens quietly. It happens on a Tuesday.
It happens in micro moments. It happens when you look at a complex situation and just say, you know what, this is too complicated. I'll just adopt this pundit's opinion because he sounds angry and sure of himself, and that feels like strength.
That's a small trade.
That's a small trade.
Yeah.
You traded your own inquiry for the feeling of certainty that someone else provided.
And what we're buying in that trade is compression. I found this distinction really helpful because I think I confuse clarity and compression constantly. I'm always saying, I just want some clarity on this.
And this is, for me, probably the most insightful part of the document. We think we're looking for clarity, but the source argues that in states of stress, what we're actually looking for is compression. We want the world to be smaller.
Okay, but I want to push on that a little bit. Isn't simplification a good thing? I mean, if an expert takes a complex topic like, I don't know, quantum physics or a geopolitical conflict and boils it down for me, isn't that helpful? When does that simplification become this compression trap?
That is a great question.
Mm.
And there is a difference between synthesis and compression. So synthesis, which is kind of what we try to do here,
Hmm.
is about revealing the core truth of something, even if that truth remains complex.
Okay.
Compression is about chopping off the parts of reality that don't fit your current tolerance level. Synthesis clarifies. Compression. Well, compression lies.
So it's simplifying by omitting things.
It lies by omission. Compression says there are only two sides, pick one, or it's good or it's bad. It's black or white.
So compression creates a map that's really easy to read, but it doesn't actually match the territory. It's like a subway map that leaves off the station you're trying to get to because it messed up the design.
Precisely. And the source says, we love these compressed narratives. Why? Because they calm the nervous system. They literally lower our heart rate. If I tell you, here's the villain, here's the hero, and here's exactly what will happen next, you feel safe. You feel stabilized.
It resolves the
They
tension.
resolve the tension of the unknown. But it's a false stability. The source calls it the trap of relief.
And it says relying on these narratives trains a person to prefer relief over reality. Wow, that's a heavy accusation. It's saying we are training ourselves to be fragile.
Fragile and addicted to certainty. And the source points out something really counterintuitive here. It says that real clarity often increases friction, at least at first.
Which is the total opposite of what we expect. We think clarity should feel like a sigh of relief. Like, aha, I see it now.
And sometimes it does eventually. But the moment of clarity often asks more of you. It asks you to hold two conflicting facts at the same time. It asks you to stay present with a problem that doesn't have a solution yet.
So comfort reduces friction.
Right. Comfort reduces friction. Clarity actually exposes the friction that is already there.
Okay, so if I'm reading something, a tweet, an article, a book, and I immediately feel this warm rush of, oh, thank God it's that simple, I should be suspicious.
You should treat that feeling of relief as a yellow flag.
Mm.
You have to ask yourself, am I relieved because I found the truth, or am I relieved because someone just handed me a pacifier?
Am I calm because the idea is true or because the idea is small?
That's the one. That is the question of the entire episode right there.
Okay, so let's talk about what pushes us toward that pacifier. The source talks about noise, but it breaks it down into 4 specific types, which I found helpful. Usually we just say, I'm overwhelmed, but we don't diagnose why.
Right. Granularity helps. So the first one is straightforward. Informational noise. The doom scroll. The sheer quantity of inputs assaulting your brain. We all know that one.
Intimately. Then there's emotional noise. This is the background hum of anxiety, right? The unprocessed feel.
Yes. And often it's not even your fear. It's the collective fear you pick up from the environment. The urgency in the news anchor's voice, the panic in the markets. Then there is social noise, the pressure to belong, the pressure to signal the right virtues or, hold the acceptable opinions of your tribe.
Oh, that one is huge. The fear that if I don't have an opinion, I don't exist, or if I have the wrong opinion, I'll be exiled.
Exactly. And the fourth one is ideological noise. This is when a narrative demands loyalty. When an idea stops being a tool for understanding the world and starts being a badge of identity.
So if you question the narrative, you aren't just wrong. You're a traitor.
Precisely. And the source argues that while these inputs are all different, you've got data, emotion, peer pressure, dogma, the physiological result in your body is exactly the same. It uses the word contraction.
Contract.
That's the physical mechanism. When the noise gets too high, we contract. Shoulders up to your ears, breath gets shallow, your field of vision narrows. We literally get smaller.
And when we're contracted, we search for what the source calls an external stabilizer.
Yes, I love that term.
It sounds so mechanical, like a gyroscope on a ship.
Well, it is mechanical in its function. When you feel small and unstable, you look for something big and stable to latch onto. That could be a person, a movement, a religious dogma, or even just a very confident YouTuber. You're looking for a model that promises to hold the complexity for you.
It's like using a crutch because your legs are tired. And I mean, to be fair to all of us, sometimes your legs are tired. Is it always wrong to lean on someone?
The source doesn't really say it's wrong in a moral sense. It says it has a cost. If you use the crutch every day, your own stabilizer muscles atrophy. You lose the structural capacity to stand on your own.
And that leads us to the core solution the text proposes, coherence.
Coherence, yeah.
Okay, let's define this properly, because coherence sounds a little bit like flow state or just being in a good mood. I hear coherent and I think, oh, I can speak in full sentences.
Right.
But the source is very specific that it is not a mood.
Explicitly not. You don't positive vibe your way into coherence. The source defines coherence as a structural capacity. It's the ability to remain internally aligned while reality remains complex. It's architecture, not emotion.
It uses this term, fourth density frame, from the Luminous school of creation. Now, I have to be honest, whenever I hear densities or specific school jargon, my skeptic radar goes up a bit. Is this getting into sci-fi territory?
It can sound that way, I get it. But if you look at how they actually define it in the text, it's very grounded in developmental psychology. Think of third density as a state of duality, good-bad, justum, win-lose. It's binary.
All right.
Fourth density is described as a developmental threshold, where a human can hold more truth, more sensitivity, more paradox, without collapsing.
Without collapsing. That seems to be the key metric. It's about load-bearing capacity.
Exactly. When we can't hold the complexity, the density of the information, we collapse into one of three states: fear, control, or dependency.
We get scared and hide. We try to force the world to fit our map.
Let's control, yeah.
Or we beg someone else to explain it to us. Dependency. So coherence is basically the structural integrity required to look at the messiness of the world and not freak out.
Yes. The source says this: sovereignty is the refusal to hand authority away. Coherence is the inner state that makes that refusal sustainable.
Oh, that's good.
You can want to be sovereign all day long, but if your nervous system cracks under pressure, you will hand that authority away just to get some relief.
So it's not just about being smart, it's about being durable.
Resilient might be the word.
Yeah.
But a specific kind of resilience, not the kind where you put up a wall and ignore everything. The source describes it as open without being porous and strong without becoming hard.
That is a beautiful image. Open without being porous. So I let information in, I listen, I feel things, but I don't just leak my own authority out.
Right.
And strong without becoming hard, so I don't have to become some rigid, cynical jerk to maintain my boundaries.
Exactly. And this leads right into the section on ethical sovereignty, which I think is crucial. Yeah. Because the internet is full of people claiming sovereignty who are really just narcissists.
Right. The I did my own research, so I don't care about you crowd. I'm a wolf, you're a sheep, that whole vibe.
The source hits this hard. It says coherence is not domination. It is not about winning arguments. If you need everyone in the room to agree with you so that you can feel safe, you aren't coherent. You are dependent.
You're using them as your external stabilizers.
You're using them. That flips the script entirely, doesn't it? The person shouting the loudest for everyone to agree with them is actually the most fragile person in the room.
Wow, often, yeah.
Often. They're trying to stabilize their internal world by controlling the external one. A truly coherent person, according to this text, can hold an incomplete map without turning it into a religion. They can say, I don't know yet, without feeling weak.
I do not know yet, but I will not surrender my authorship. That's the quote from the text.
It's powerful. It separates knowledge from authority. You can lack knowledge, I don't know the answer, but still retain authority. I am still the one deciding how to find the answer.
Okay, so we know what the trap is, seeking relief through compression. We know what the goal is, coherence. But how do we actually do it? The host in me wants the 5 easy steps to coherence, but I have a feeling the source doesn't offer a quick hack.
No, there is no hack, because this is about rewiring a biological habit. You can't hack your nervous system overnight. But it does offer a practice, 4-step sequence. And what I like about this is that it's invisible. You can do this in the middle of a board meeting or while you're scrolling on the toilet.
Okay, walk us through it. What's step 1?
Step 1. Notice the moment your attention fragments. Just catch it. You're reading an article, you get a notification, your brain scatters. Just say to yourself, oh, I'm scattered right now. Don't judge it, just name it.
Simple enough. Acknowledgement. What's step 2?
Step 2. Notice the moment the body seeks relief. This is subtle. It's that physical urge to tab out, to check Instagram, or to find a simple answer that ends the discomfort of not knowing. It's the moment you reach for the sugar, metaphorically speaking.
So it's catching the urge to check out or fix it. Got it. Step 3.
Step 3. Notice the moment you want someone or something to name reality for you. That specific desire to have an external voice come in and say, this is good, this is bad, this is what's happening. It's the desire for a parent figure to enter the room.
And step 4.
Step 4 is the hardest. The pause.
Yeah.
You pause long enough to feel the difference between comfort and clarity.
The pause. Why is that so hard? It sounds literally like doing nothing.
Because in that pause, the cortisol is spiking. Your body is screaming for resolution. To pause is to refuse the immediate relief. It's standing in that friction we talked about.
Right.
But the source says if you can hold that pause, even for 10 seconds, you break the automatic circuit of outsourcing.
You disrupt the trade, you stop the automatic transaction of, here's my anxiety, give me a slogan.
Exactly. You create a tiny wedge of space where you can actually choose. You can ask, do I actually agree with this? Or am I just scared?
It reminds me of that Viktor Frankl idea between stimulus and response. There is a space. And in that space is our power.
It's exactly that. And the goal here isn't to be perfect at this. You don't achieve coherence like a merit badge you wear forever. It's a practice of reclamation. You reclaim your authority one pause at a time. Some days you will fail. You'll scroll for 3 hours and believe everything you read.
And that's okay.
It's human. The practice is just to catch yourself.
I really appreciate that the source emphasizes this isn't about becoming a lone wolf.
Yeah.
We still read, we still listen to experts, we still have mentors. We're not trying to derive the laws of physics from scratch by ourselves.
We absolutely need others, but we engage with them differently. We engage as peers in sense-making, not as children looking for a savior. And the final provocation from the source is something I think every listener should write on a sticky note and put on their monitor. It says, the future is not only shaped by the ideas we consume, it is shaped by whether we remain internally coherent while consuming them.
Ooh, that really puts the responsibility back on us, doesn't it? We spend so much energy vetting our sources. Is this fake news? Is this biased? Is this propaganda? And that's important work. But this suggests the more critical variable is how we are reading it. Are we reading it as sovereign authors or as desperate people looking for a stabilizer?
Exactly. You can read the most profound truth in the world, but if you consume it with a contracted, dependent nervous system, you will turn it into dogma. You'll turn it into a weapon or a crutch. The what matters less than the how.
It stops us from just blaming the noise. We can't turn off the internet. The noise isn't going away. The elections, the wars, the discourse, it's all staying.
No, you cannot unsubscribe from reality. The only variable you control is your own structural capacity to withstand it.
Well, that is certainly something to sit with. I think I'm going to practice that pause today. Just notice when I want the answer handed to me, and maybe just wait a second.
That's the work.
Thank you all for listening to this deep dive into the Luminous Circus. We hope this helps you navigate the noise a little better this week.
Stay coherent out there.
See you next time.